It's Sunday, May 3rd, 2026. You're listening to the DX Today AI Daily Brief. Today, week one of the Musk versus Altman federal trial puts the OpenAI founding battle on the witness stand. The Pentagon signs AI deals with 7 major tech companies for classified networks, while pointedly excluding Anthropic. And Microsoft pushes Agent 365 into general availability with reach into Amazon and Google Clouds. Let's get into it.
Week one of the Musk versus OpenAI trial wrapped Friday in federal court in Oakland, with Elon Musk taking the stand in a black suit to argue that Sam Altman and Greg Brockman duped him into bankrolling the company a decade ago. Musk told the courtroom he was a fool, called the conversion to a for-profit a bait and switch, and warned again that AI could destroy humanity. The trial also surfaced internal email exchanges between Musk and the founders, fresh disclosures about employee poaching by Musk's other companies, and pointed questions from Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers about Musk's own commercial AI ambitions through xAI. Closing arguments are expected next month.
Now to Washington.
The Department of Defense announced Friday that it has signed agreements with 7 major technology companies to deploy their AI tools inside classified Pentagon networks. The list includes SpaceX, OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Amazon Web Services, and Reflection AI. Notably absent from the agreement is Anthropic. Officials familiar with the matter say the Trump administration has effectively blacklisted Anthropic over the company's insistence that the Pentagon adopt safety guardrails on the use of AI in warfare. The deals cover battlefield analytics, intelligence summarization, logistics, and cyber defense workloads. Pentagon officials described the move as the largest single expansion of commercial AI into classified national security work to date, with deployment expected to begin this summer.
Over to Redmond.
Microsoft on Friday announced that Agent 365 is now generally available. The company's enterprise control plane for managing AI agents the way IT departments manage human users today. New capabilities include shadow agent discovery, identity and access controls inherited from Entra, and a public preview of Registry Sync with Amazon Bedrock and Google Cloud, meaning Microsoft customers can now inventory and govern agents that live on rival clouds from a single pane of glass. Microsoft also previewed runtime blocking and policy enforcement through Intune and Defender, set to land in June. Analysts call it a clear bid by Microsoft to become the system of record for the agent economy across heterogeneous enterprise environments.
Meta makes a move.
Meta has acquired Assured Robot Intelligence, a startup developing foundation models for humanoid robots, in a deal disclosed late Friday. Terms were not disclosed, but 2 people familiar with the transaction described it as a meaningful talent and technology pickup for Meta's robotics group inside Reality Labs. Assured was founded 2 years ago by former DeepMind and Boston Dynamics researchers and had been working on whole-body control models that combine language reasoning with low-latency motor planning. The acquisition slots directly into Mark Zuckerberg's stated ambition to ship a Meta-branded household robotics platform by the end of the decade. It is the second humanoid robotics deal Meta has announced this calendar year.
And from San Francisco.
Replit marked its 10th anniversary on Saturday by giving every user, including free tier accounts, a full day of unlimited access to Replit Agent, the company's autonomous coding system. Chief Executive Amjad Masad framed the giveaway as a public stress test of Replit's infrastructure and a chance for hobbyists, students, and small teams to ship something real in 24 hours. By Sunday morning, the company said users had spun up more than 400,000 new projects, with a heavy concentration in micro software as a service, applications, and small e-commerce sites. Replit also previewed a paid Agent Pro tier that bundles longer running tasks, shared memory, and team collaboration, set to launch later this month.
Protest at Berkeley.
An evening event at the Berkeley Forum featuring Google's chief scientist and Gemini co-lead Jeff Dean was shut down on Saturday by demonstrators, who unfurled banners and chanted from the back of the auditorium. Protesters criticized Google's defense contracts and the use of Gemini models by intelligence agencies tied to the war in Gaza. Berkeley Forum organizers ended the program roughly 20 minutes in after attempts to restore order failed. Dean did not respond to questions on the way out. The university said it is reviewing campus protest policy and that it remains committed to hosting industry speakers. Google declined to comment on the protest itself, but reiterated its principles around responsible AI deployment.
Now to Hangzhou and San Francisco.
Alibaba's Qwen team and Fireworks AI announced a strategic partnership on Friday to deliver production-ready hosted deployment of Qwen's closed-weights frontier models, including the recently released Qwen 3 Max. Fireworks said the deal brings token costs down sharply for U.S. enterprises seeking to use Qwen for code, multilingual, and long-context workloads, while keeping inference inside U.S. data centers. The partnership is notable because Qwen had primarily been distributed through Alibaba Cloud outside China, and many American buyers had hesitated on data residency grounds. Fireworks chief executive Lin Chao said the company is positioning itself as a neutral runtime layer for both open and proprietary frontier models, regardless of country of origin.
Adobe goes agentic.
Adobe is testing an agentic AI assistant inside Firefly that can execute multi-step creative briefs across Photoshop, Illustrator, and Premiere without manually switching applications. The company demoed the system to select enterprise customers this past week, showing the agent ingest a brand brief, generate concept art, retouch the chosen frame, lay out a print spec sheet, and stitch together a 30-second video, all from a single natural language prompt. Adobe says the agent uses a planner model trained on millions of anonymized creative workflows, and that it asks for human approval at defined checkpoints. A limited public beta is expected at Adobe Max in October, with broader rollout in Creative Cloud expected by year-end.
And in customer software.
Salesforce announced this past week a sweeping headless architecture for its platform, exposing the entire customer relationship management stack through a unified AI agent application programming interface. The change lets autonomous agents read and write to Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and Data Cloud without going through the traditional Lightning user interface. Chief Executive Mark Benioff framed it as Salesforce's most significant platform change since Lightning itself, calling it the foundation for an agent-first enterprise. Independent developers can now build vertical agents that sit on top of Salesforce data without paying for full seats, a meaningful business model shift. Early partners include Accenture, Deloitte, and a wave of smaller agentic startups building for healthcare, financial services, and manufacturing.
An AI that incorporates itself.
Clawbank, a fintech experiment funded by a small group of venture investors, said its autonomous AI agent named Manfred completed the legal incorporation of itself as a Delaware limited liability company this week, secured a federal employer identification number, opened an FDIC-insured business bank account, and provisioned a custodial cryptocurrency wallet, all without a human in the loop after the initial launch command. Legal scholars are already debating whether the resulting entity is properly owned, properly regulated, or even properly served by U.S. corporate law. Clawbank says the experiment is intended to surface gaps in existing Know Your Customer and beneficial owner frameworks, not to evade them, and that all underlying operators and funds are fully disclosed.
On the labor front.
Snap Chief Executive Evan Spiegel told employees in an internal memo this past week that the company is laying off roughly 1,000 people and closing more than 300 open requisitions, citing rapid advancements in artificial intelligence that allow smaller teams to ship at the same pace. The cuts are concentrated in middle management, engineering operations, and recruiting. Spiegel said Snap will reinvest the savings into camera AI, advertising automation, and spectacles. The move follows similar AI-driven workforce actions this quarter at Meta, Microsoft, Oracle, and Dell. Outplacement firms tracking the sector say AI has been cited as the explicit driver in nearly half of all U.S. tech layoffs so far in 2026.
And finally, from Gaithersburg.
the Center for AI Standards and Innovation at NIST, published its May 2026 evaluation of DeepSeek V4 Pro, finding the Chinese model trails leading US closed models by roughly 8 months and performs similarly to GPT-5, which shipped about that long ago. The evaluation tested 23 benchmarks across reasoning, coding, biosecurity refusal, and adversarial robustness. Notably, DeepSeek V4 was more cost-efficient than GPT 5.4 Mini on 5 of 7 cost-adjusted tasks, raising fresh questions inside the US policy community about how durable the American compute and capability lead really is. That's your briefing for Sunday, May 3rd, 2026. For DX Today, stay curious.